What in the Royal Rumble is this?
So those are parents that are fighting back against people that were teaching Pride Month. I think there was some sort of Pride parade at a school, and they're not happy with the things that are being taught in school, and so a fight broke out.
Okay.
So Nick Merckx, who is a Call of Duty player, went onto Twitter following that video being posted on Twitter, and he made a comment which was, they should leave little children alone. That's the real issue. Obviously, a lot of parents are not happy with their children being taught about certain things to do with pride, with LGBT stuff, which is the parents' right. Nick Merckx is recently a father, right? He's just become a dad. And he posted his 2 cents about it. So, which I didn't think it wasn't a radical take in my opinion. I think parents should have control over what their children see.
Yeah, and everyone should be entitled to their own opinion towards the subject and situation as well.
Yeah, people should be allowed to have their own opinions. We shouldn't be forcing anyone to think any type of way.
Everyone should be allowed to raise their kids how they want to raise their kids, and nobody should be able to tell you right from wrong or how you want to do it. You do it how you want to do it. It's your kids.
I saw parents brawling in front of a fucking school with kids. I just didn't fucking like it. You know, I'm sure a lot of you guys can understand how that video would piss some people off. It pissed me off. Okay. Now, I mean, full transparency. You know, how do I put this? I gotta be very, very careful here. I don't want to piss anybody off. I'm making a lot of people mad. Wasn't my intention. I mean, listen, my wife and I just had a baby. Brand new father. You know, we seen these kinds of videos. It's sad. You know. But her and I agree that we want to be the ones to talk to our kid about things like that. I'm trying to keep it really simple, just so we don't have to get too crazy about it, because there's nothing to get crazy about. It's just, it really is that simple. I think I just have a bigger perspective on this now, being a parent, than I did maybe 2 months ago. So, you know, the video bothered me, right? And that's I just don't think it's any place for a teacher or a school. I don't think it's the place to speak about things like that. And it's not that I think that it shouldn't be spoken about. If that's what you got from that tweet, then you're just wrong. I don't have any quarrel with anybody in here. I don't have any quarrel with people on the internet. It wasn't an anti, I guess, gay tweet.
So his take was not a radical take, right? Parents should be allowed to choose what their children, you know, with regards to that stuff anyway, they should be able to teach the children on their own. I will say that some parents just neglect to talk about these things altogether, but that doesn't mean that a stranger should be talking to kids about it. And you definitely got to look at the age range of them. My biggest problem with this, and this is something that I think people are getting wrong, people are not angry that you would acknowledge the existence of trans people or gay people. People are angry with what is being taught. It's not that they don't, because they do exist. These people exist, right? It's how they are being taught, and that's what people are not understanding. And the second thing is, it's the forcing it on people. You should not be forcing anything on anyone. They don't force any type of, as far as I'm aware, they don't force Islam on people. They don't force Christianity on people. People have been allowed to opt out of that stuff for a very, very long time. It's a bit bizarre to me that they are trying to demonize people for not wanting to take part in Pride Month, and you shouldn't take part in Pride Month if you don't want to. I don't understand why we all have to play along. I have no interest in it, and there's a bunch of other months or parades or whatever else that I have no interest in. I will not take part in. I could not give less of a shit how that demographic feels about it. It's their right to go out and parade and have their month or whatever. It's my right to reserve the right to not take part in it. It's really that simple. I think it's a bit disingenuous to pretend like people are denying the existence of trans people. What people are complaining about is they do not like how things are being taught, right? That's the impression that I've gotten. It's how things are being taught. It's not that they exist. It's how young are you teaching the children, and what are you saying to them?
But it's also the point of somebody else making a decision for your children as well, like teaching your children stuff without your consent as the parent.
Yeah.
And it's just you're forcing it on kids, and I think that's another major point as well.
Yeah, and the problem is that when you speak out against this sort of stuff, you literally get demonized for it. You, like Nick Merckx, for example, Activision, bear in mind, a company that has been under the lens because of how they've been treating their workers, because of harassment cases, because of all sorts of things that they've been doing to people within their company and around, comes out on Twitter And it says that due to recent events, we have removed the Nick Mercs operator bundle from the Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone store, which for those of you that don't play Call of Duty, Nick Mercs had his own like bundle that you could purchase in Call of Duty, so you could play as Nick Mercs, right? They removed it from the store. We are focused on celebrating Pride Month with our employees and our community.
So they're trying to like cancel him essentially.
They're trying to cancel him. Now, luckily, Nick Mercs has other big creators standing behind him. Most notably, Dr. Disrespect, who again is one of the biggest creators in the Call of Duty space. And Dr. Disrespect posted a video basically supporting Nick Mercs. So I'll show that to you guys now.
What we got to do is uninstall the game. Number one. I mean, don't get a mistake. In this year's Call of Duty is the worst in its franchise. But that decision by COD's PR marketing team, I'll tell you right now, man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to digest for the two-time. I feel like, A, they either need to apologize publicly to him or reinstate his bundle in order for me to consider playing Call of Duty again. That's where I'm at.
Which, you know, I don't expect everybody to do something like that. Dr. Disrespect is big enough and fortunate enough that he can do something like that.
He's got the power, and it's good that he's using that power to his advantage as well.
Yeah, and I commend him for that. A lot of people were like giving him some flack for that, but Nick Mercs is his friend. And at the end of the day, Dr. Disrespect is a dad, and so is Nick Mercs, and they're going to want to protect their children from anything they don't want them to see. And the problem here is that I don't actually think it's trans and gay people and all that on the ground. It's the people from the top down. But what bothers me the most is that when you talk to people about this, they are in support of these companies and they're in support of these school boards, not knowing or not seeing that these school boards and these companies are the ones that are sowing the division. You should allow parents and allow other people to not be accepting of whatever you're into. You don't have to accept what they're into. I'm sure you don't align with a lot of their beliefs and they don't align with yours.
Just because you might not want to be involved or might not want your kids to be taught this from a young age doesn't mean you're necessarily against it or don't like them or have something against them. It's just more so you don't have to be involved.
Yeah, you don't have to be involved, but it's okay if you're against it as well. I mean, most of my Muslim friends, most people that I know that are affiliated with Islam are not on board with this at all. Like, there's a zero tolerance there. And when I say zero tolerance, I mean that they will not adopt these ways of thinking and they will not use the pronouns. They won't play into those things. And that's up to them. What these people need to understand is that they can't force people to do these things, because the more you do this, the more everyday normal people that are not clued into the political spectrum, that are not paying attention to, you know, things that are going on, they're starting to realize what's happening now and they're getting annoyed. So I pulled up this news article, right? It says all schools must comply. Schools get heavy-handed against pride backlash. So all schools must comply with showing children or introducing them to pride or I don't know, whatever the hell they're doing. So it says 2 provinces have now warned school boards that a failure to properly observe pride could be illegal.
Wow.
Illegal. Do you know how insane that is? Illegal. What does that mean? That means that if they don't acknowledge Pride Month, is that a criminal conviction? Like, is that a criminal offense? What happens if they don't acknowledge it?
They've never been this passionate about anything else before.
America and other countries in other places in Europe are going like this. They're going like this. People are becoming more and more separated into their camps, and things are becoming more extreme. School pride celebrations face growing signs of backlash across Canada. Administrators are responding with stern reminders to school boards that these observations are not optional. Not optional. Not optional. You cannot opt out of Pride Month. It is incumbent on all school boards to ensure all students, most especially 2SLGBTQ+. What is 2SL? 2SL, they've put 2 more letters in front of it.
SL.
Can you look it up on your phone while I'm reading this? I need to know what that is. Feel supported, reflected in their schools and welcome within our communities. That includes celebrating Pride. On the evening just before June 1st.
Okay, sorry. two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and or questioning intersex, asexual.
God's sake, two-spirit.
And the plus reflects the countless affirmative ways in which people choose to self-identify.
Look, people can identify however they want. Honest to God, I couldn't care less. If you want to identify as a polar bear, go right ahead. The problem is that not everybody is on board with this, and you shouldn't be forcing people. Now you're forcing people to take part in Pride.
What's two-spirit?
Who gives a fuck, man? Honestly, who gives a shit? The exclusion or erasure of 2SLGBTQ. That's too much. I'm not saying that. We're just going to stick to LGBT. Identities from educational materials constitutes a form of discrimination. All schools must comply with the Human Rights Code and demonstrate they are creating safe, welcoming, and inclusive environments for our students and staff. When students can see themselves reflected in the world around them through stories of same-gender parents or math problems, that they use they, them pronouns in a school environment, it sends a strong message of acceptance. No, because when you're forcing people, this has nothing to do with inclusivity now. This is now bow down and do as I say. Partake in something that most people don't want to partake in. You can't force people to be a part of Pride. That is not on. That is unacceptable. It's one thing to do your thing, you know, have your parades or whatever. You'll never see me going to a Pride parade and talking shit to them. Do whatever you want. I could not care less. But if I don't want to partake in it, if I don't want my children to partake in it, we shouldn't have to. Why are you forcing people to do it? To the gay and trans and bi and lesbian two-spirit people, ask yourself this. What do you think it's going to do if you start forcing people? How do you think they're going to react? Rather than just letting people make up their own minds, you do your thing over there, I'll do my thing over here. We'll be peaceful, right? Muslims are not going to be on board with your stuff, right? They're just not going to. It goes against Islam. So you have to respect where they're coming from. And you can do your thing over there. I'm sure they want nothing to do with you. Just the same way you don't want anything to do with them. And yet you're telling them and you're telling their children, no, you must do this. How do you think they're going to retaliate? You are shitting on their beliefs whilst telling them to be accepting of yours. Please make it make sense for me.
Yeah. It's not one rule for one rule for the other.
No, it's not. If you guys want to do your thing, look, it's Pride Month, right? We're in Pride Month right now. You have a whole month. People are waving the flag all over the place. I've seen the flag everywhere I've gone. You don't see me. I'm not going to tear it down. I just look the other way. I couldn't care less. I'm not partaking in Pride Month. I don't celebrate any of these months. It's nothing against gay or trans people. It's just all of these months. They're all just nonsense to me. And none of these other months are forced on people, except this one now. And they're criminalizing it in certain places. It's not going to take long before they do that everywhere. And then we're called bigots. And this is what I was saying to my friend, like, not to know. I think I even said it on here. I said they might call us bigots now, but the line is here. The line is going to continue to move. The line has moved again. Telling people it's illegal to not take part in Pride Month or show pride or have pride representation in schools means that the line has moved. And now a bunch of people that didn't think that they were bigots because it was live and let live and they were over here. Now they are bigots.
Well, I'll tell you, you are out to lunch. If you think it's acceptable to not show up because you think if there's some pride activities going on at school, right? Oh, that's fine. You know, because I'm going to show my opinion by hanging out at the mall. But meanwhile, all of those kids who are, you know, involved in, say, the Gay Street Alliance or whatever, I don't even know if we have that anymore in our school, they're here when we did Ramadan for Lion Time, and they're showing respect in the class for your religion, right, for your beliefs. It goes two ways. If you want to be respected for who you are, if you don't want to suffer prejudice for your religion, your color of skin, your whatever, then you got to give it back to people who are different from you. That's how it works. It's an exchange. And it isn't like that in all countries. As I told you, in Uganda, literally, if they think you're gay, they will execute you. If you believe that kind of thing, then you don't belong here. Because that is not what Canada believes. We believe in freedom.
Have you ever heard of a school forcing people to partake in Ramadan?
No.
I've never heard of that before, and I don't see Muslim people. You never will. I don't see Muslim people get impressed that people are not taking part in their religion. I don't see that. Yeah, you might say that there's extremists, but this isn't happening on the surface, like in schools. And your everyday Muslim is not trying to push things on people. They're not. This is not being pushed on kids in school.
You can't force people.
You can't. It goes against Islam. It goes against. I'm not even a Muslim, but I have enough Muslim friends that I've seen enough Muslim content on YouTube to tell you that they're not okay with it. But I don't see them starting fights with people or telling gay people or trans people, you got to do this way. Especially in this country, right? We're in England. I don't see them doing that over here. And yet you're telling them, or in Canada, or wherever the hell this is happening, no, if you want to be accepted, then you've got to accept this. But no one's asking us to be a part of Ramadan. No one's asking us to pray however many times Muslim might pray a day. They're doing their thing over here. Why can't you do your thing over there? This is not how you get people to accept you. This is how you wind people up. And this is why the fight broke out. You can't expect these parents to take this line down. If they're not comfortable, and this is another thing, people are not getting, I'm going to say it again, it's not the existence of these people that upsets people. It's how you are teaching about their existence. You're not talking about the struggles that people might have gone through throughout human history to get their rights or whatever. You're talking to children about anal sex. You're talking to children about twerking. You're telling boys and girls that boys can be girls and girls can be boys. And that is what these parents are not happy about. Because boys cannot be girls and girls cannot be boys. Boys cannot get pregnant and girls don't have penises.
I also think an element of it, when you're targeting young children, is brainwashing. It's like you're teaching them this is the way you should be. Not so much of letting kids grow older and figuring things out for themselves. It's being shoved down their throats. And as I always say on this channel, kids go to school to learn. You teach them ABCs 1, 2, 3s because they don't know it. So if they're going to school and they're learning about this stuff, they're going to think that that's the way life should be. And then what, is everyone just supposed to be that way now?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're not giving them a chance to grow and become their own people and figure life out themselves. You're basically just brainwashing them. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, and you're lying to them. I don't think we should ever hate gay people or trans people. We don't hate these people at all. I mean, Maggie, who was here with us, is bi, right? She's a good friend of mine. I'm very close with her. And we've got friends that are gay, lesbian, trans. I treat them no differently from any of my straight friends or anybody else that identifies any other way. The problem is that there are certain things that are not acceptable for children to hear in school. Yeah. And it's not, again, say it again, that it's not the existence of these people. It's not telling children that these people exist. It is making out like boys can be girls and girls can be boys. We should have all the sympathy in the world for somebody that wakes up in the morning or wakes up whenever, or if this is a growing thing, and feels like they're in the wrong body. I have all the sympathy in the world for somebody that genuinely feels like that, because it can't be easy. But trying to confuse children that don't have that confusion is not a good thing, and you can understand why parents don't want that to happen. It is obviously confusing. And there's so many ways to prove that it's confusing that there's not even any point in talking about it. We've spoken about it in length on this channel. It's no good lying to people. Yeah, you could teach acceptance. We should be. I learned to accept people from different faiths, people that look different to me, people that think differently. And like I said, we ain't got no problem with trans people. We've got problem with the top down trying to make out like life is a certain way when it isn't, and forcing people to hear things they don't want to hear.
So then 1, 2, 3, everybody else like said it on 3, okay? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yes. All right. Everybody say
Now, does anybody in this room know how to twerk? It's all in. And then you just move your bum up and down like that, and that's twerking.
What age range is that?
Those were children in there. You could even see it. That was like a children's library.
You may as well send Cardi B into the school and get her to teach them how to twerk. You may as well at this rate.
Why are you sending drag queens into schools? They are not educators.
Regardless of that, why are you talking to young kids about twerking?
Yeah, on top of that, why are you talking to kids about twerking? For what reason? It makes no sense. And the idiots that can't see why parents would be angry about this baffle me. It is baffling.
Because they're only looking at one thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
They've got their heads so far up their asses that it's actually hard to even... It's like they're walking around with eyes wide shut. You know, like, drag queens are not educators. Right? They are people that perform at nighttime because they are adult entertainers.
Entertainers, yeah.
They are adult entertainers. There's nothing... You want to be a drag queen... You want to do that shit, it's up to you. That's just, it's another job. It's whatever you want to call it. It's for adults. Consenting adults ain't got a problem with that. For what reason is a drag queen in school? You may as well just bring corn stars in. Bring strippers in. Do a full Moulin Rouge for the children.
You may as well.
They have no place in school. And if you can't understand why parents are sick of it, then you're stupid. There's no other way to put it. You're a dumbass.
I just think a school should be a place that's really professional. And I see this as very unprofessional.
A school is a place to teach children about academia and prepare them for the world. But that doesn't mean you expose everything to them.
No.
We're not going in. I mean, there are things that happen all over the world that we do not show children.
Why do you think films have ratings on them, like age ratings? This film is not suitable for anyone under 15. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. And it's a way of parents being able to protect their kids from being exposed to just certain things, whether it might be violence, scenes of a sexual nature, things like that. Do you know what I'm saying? That twerking thing's really annoyed me.
Oh yeah, and that's the tip of the iceberg. I have told people this. Do you know what pisses me off the most is that people are like, oh, this is right-wing conservatives that are making this shit up. They are not making this shit up. And most people that are fed up with this stuff are not right-wing conservatives, us included. We don't even have children and we're sick of seeing this shit. We don't even have children and we're sick of seeing this shit. I am not a right-wing conservative. Sabi's not a right-wing conservative. We might have some values that align that way, but we have liberal values as well. This has nothing to do with right or left. It's that it is not a place for children. That is it. There's no need for a debate. There's no need to treat this with any nuance. It's not a place for children. You can, like I said, you could teach children about the existence of people and their struggles, but for what reason have you got a man or a woman coming out on stage with nipple tassels on for children to see, or bringing a drag queen into a library to teach them how to twerk? What did the children learn about their struggles? There's
no education behind that. You're not actually teaching them what you might want to teach them. You're literally just... There's I don't even know what it is, but there's no education behind that.
There's
zero
no
education.
This is why people think it's indoctrination. This is why. This is why people think it's indoctrination. I don't know how you can't see that. If they were teaching in school... I don't know, there was like gay people at a settlement and like people came and did this thing to us and there was like this heroic story where they fought for their rights. Okay, cool. These are different people that fought for their right to, live as normal people. But if you go and tell me, there was some people at a settlement and they're all bumming each other and that's what you tell the children, I'm going to be like, what the fuck are you talking to the kids about?
We may as well just like go book to go see a drag show in London and just bring like our nieces and nephews or cousins with us. Yeah,
because it'll be a family-friendly drag show. Listen to that sentence. Say it out loud 100 times. Family-friendly drag show.
If they try refuse the entry of the kids, say, but they're going into schools teaching them, so what difference does it make? It's obviously child appropriate.
And to say that it would be... Because the thing is that the implications of saying that it's illegal to not partake in Pride Month or display pride in the school means that it's free reign really for them to do whatever they want. Because what does that mean? Where are the limits here? I mean, you have drag queens in school, you have drag queens twerking, you have teachers talking to children about dildos and getting sex toys. You have teachers telling little girls to go home and ask their dads about their erections and their ejaculations.
Worksheet that my 10-year-old daughter brought home from school, and it includes a photo of the worksheet. Part of her homework was to discuss with her father his erections and ejaculation. I find this very disturbing and sickening, as indeed do I have to say. I have complained to the school and was told it was just part of the curriculum. Can you advise who else I should make a complaint to? Well, I could go on for days who she could complain to. My daughter still plays with dolls and writes letters to the Tooth Fairy. There is no way any little girl should be told to ask these questions. Well, so say all of us. What the hell is going on in this state when 10-year-old girls are told to go home and talk to your father about his erections and about his ejaculations? What the hell is going on here?
You've got all sorts of things going on. Where is the limit here? It's only a matter of time before we have actual corn stars in the schools demonstrating what pleasure is. I'm telling you now. Think I'm joking. The line was over here. The line's over here now. It's going to be over there soon. It's literally just a matter of time. They are pushing it further and further, and the more and more we speak out against it, the more they're going to push it. And the more they're going to say, oh, this is hate speech, oh, this is bigotry. It's nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that whatsoever. And the people that are saying this are either disingenuous or they are incredibly stupid. Incredibly. I would rather that they were being disingenuous, because if they're actually so dumb as to think that these things are not happening in school and that parents don't have the rights to be angry and they can't see why parents are angry, I think that's worse. Because if they're that dumb, then there's no getting through to them. At least if they're disingenuous, you can expose that and you can move forward.
Kids of that sort of age range, you don't even teach them about boyfriends and girlfriends or even straight couples, you know what I'm saying? And the whole point of Pride is to, you know, support people who are gays, lesbians, etc. But I just really don't get it for this age gap. I understand you want to just, I don't know, just grow everyone up with being accepting and making people feel comfortable, but you don't even teach kids about boyfriends and girlfriends at that age. They don't know about relationships, couples, kissing, nothing. Like, it's just they're innocent. They're still watching Power Rangers maybe. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I don't understand that level of what they've done for kids that young. I could understand maybe in a secondary school. I can understand that. But primary school with kids, I think you're just confusing them.
I especially think that people in the LGBT community need to understand that this is a concentrated effort from the higher ups to make people angry to turn on you. That's what's happening here. Because everyday gay and trans and lesbian people, I don't think they're down with this either. I think that they're very much for teaching of their existence, but the method in which they have gone about teaching these children and the people that are teaching it to them and the things that they are saying in school and now saying it's illegal to not partake, you must see that the higher ups are trying to turn the public against you, because they're going to wind parents up. And who do you think they're going to take out on? It's not going to be the nameless people on the school board or the government. We don't know where this is coming from. It's going to be the people on the ground that they have these struggles, and of course they want to support their movement. But you have to see that what is going on in the schools is wrong. This is nefarious. There are other movements and other struggles throughout human history that you can teach, but there are definitely wrong ways to teach it. Just like we saw with the BLM thing. There's nothing wrong with teaching about black history and about the slave trade. People should be more informed on that, because a lot of people just aren't. They don't even know to the depths of which the slave trade happened. They don't know about several invasions in Africa. So I think people should be taught that. But if children started behaving in the ways that we saw people behaving when the BLM riots were going on, and I had white kids saying to me, oh, I'm so sorry this, and you know, just doing things that are out of pocket that have nothing to do with black history and all about brainwashing, people are going to be pissed off about that as well. There's a right way and a wrong way to go about this, and they're going about it the wrong way, and you must be able to see, and you should stand against this. You should stand against this. You shouldn't stand against the acknowledgement of your existence. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying hate trans people, hate gay people. Nobody of a sane mind anyway. I don't think you should hate anyone that is afflicted by something that causes such like suffering for the individual. I think we should teach these people to accept who they really are. That's my opinion anyway. It doesn't come from a place of hate. That's my opinion. Because people don't agree with you, it doesn't mean that they hate you. Because people might not want to partake in the pronoun game, doesn't mean that they hate you. I don't use people's pronouns. I use their names because that's not how I see the world. Now, you might see the world as, you know, it's on a spectrum. You can be he, him, or they, them, or she, her, whenever you feel. That's fine. Do your thing. But you can't force it on me. And by trying to force it on me, you're just going to wind me up. If you can see that I'm not being hateful towards you, and that this is just how I see the world, and I meet you in the middle, because your name's your name, right? Bob can call himself Sally tomorrow. That doesn't have any implications whatsoever. Guys can have girls' names, right? So that's why we have unisex names. I don't have any problem with that. If your brother wanted to change his name to Jamina or something, I don't care. I'll call him Jamina. But if he started using what?
Why'd you go to Jamina? Where did that come from?
Because his name's Jem.
Oh.
But if he started using she, her pronouns, I'm just going to call him Jamina. I'm not going to use the pronouns because that's not how I see the world. It doesn't mean that I hate you. It doesn't mean that I'm disrespecting you. What it does mean is that if you try to force me and try to make me feel bad, you're the bad person. You're the one that doesn't understand acceptance. You're the one that doesn't understand inclusivity. This is a maths class. Right? I just want to stress it. This is a maths class.
Wow, Miss Clark. Wow. Why are you showing this to kids?
Hey, I'll warn you guys now, if you're going to be inappropriate, I will have supervision down and give all of you a Saturday school for next year. So knock it off.
Okay.
What did she say?
She said, if you guys are going to be inappropriate, you're all going to have Saturday school. So
I think it's inappropriate playing that in the classroom.
in a maths class.
In the maths class.
In a maths class.
The cheek of it.
People need to see what's happening here.
But can we just rewind for a second, yeah? The kids are watching this. They're laughing, they're giggling, they're being silly. And she said, if you're going to be inappropriate, something, whatever she said, yeah?
You're going to have to do Saturday school.
Can they not take that as their point of understanding? Kids are not ready for this stuff. Kids are childish. Kids don't know and understand the world like adults do. So you're going to get those sort of reactions because they're not mentally old enough to take it in properly yet. And you're forcing it on them. So can you not see and understand that it's not the right age group? It's not the right time. And you can't then make kids have to then go Saturday school because they're getting a bit giggly. They're probably shy and nervous that you're showing them people kissing in a classroom. Whether it was 2 girls kissing, 2 boys kissing, a boy and a girl kissing, you don't need to be showing 2 people kissing in a maths class. Teach them their algebra. Come on.
Yeah, it's very simple. Look, to round off this video, because I don't want to go in circles, if you taught it in a different way, if you weren't so vulgar in your approach, and if you didn't force people and disrespect other people's religions and their faiths, maybe people would be more willing to listen. I'm sure people would be happy to acknowledge that people with struggles exist. But the way you're going about it, and people on the ground, the everyday people in the LGBT community need to see that the people from the top down are doing this on purpose to sow the seeds of hatred to get people to fight. This is not how you teach acceptance or inclusivity. You are forcing people to do something they don't want to do. And I'll tell you right now, I don't wear anything like that on me. I've seen people having to go into work and have to wear things on their arms to celebrate Pride Month or BLM. Or you ain't gonna see me wearing that stuff. I'd wear it if I want to. I'm not wearing it at the behest of a company or a group of people. You can't force it on people. If someone doesn't want to wear it, you should be respectful of them. Forcing people to do it is just going to hurt your movement. That's all it's going to do. You're doing yourself no favors, and anybody with a lick of sense should be able to see what's happening here. America is becoming more and more polarized. If they continue down this road, something bad is going to happen. You want to teach acceptance and inclusivity? Be accepting of other people's views on the world. Don't force pronouns on people. Don't force your Pride Month. Don't force anything, and that goes for both sides. But I don't see it happening on the other side. Yeah. I have so many Muslim friends and Christian friends and even Buddhists, and they've never once tried to force their way of thinking on me. They might talk to me about it. I have very interesting conversations with a lot of my friends that are Muslim. And I'm more than willing to entertain the conversations, but they don't force their beliefs on me. No one forces me to partake in Ramadan. I took part in Ramadan because I wanted to.
Yeah, and it's like they can't get mad at you for not wanting to follow or believe what they're following or believing.
Yeah. And again, parents have the right to pull their children out of things that they're not comfortable with. And I wouldn't be comfortable with a teacher, a stranger, talking to my student, talking to my son or my daughter about those sort of things. I just wouldn't. It's my place to educate them. It's not theirs. Not on that. They have a very specific job role, and it's not that. If they make this shit illegal everywhere, I'm telling you now, people are not going to take this line down. And I really, really hope they don't do that, because I don't want to see any violence or bloodshed. But that is exactly where this shit is going. I mean, it's in all of our history books. If you push people into a corner and you start forcing them to do things, what do you think is going to happen? People need to pull their heads out of their asses. This shit is honestly infuriating.